We're all born alive, and we're fucking buried. We're just buried. We're buried in bullshit. We're buried in lies. We're buried in propaganda. We're buried in defenses. We're buried in abuse. We're all born, and we're just buried. And when we're kids, the coffin is fucking 5 miles under the earth. It's just 5 miles under the earth. And it's like, you don't look for cracks of sunlight when you're 5 miles under the earth. And then this show comes along and other things come along and we float up and we float up and we float up. We start to smell something different. We're not surrounded by rot and death and magma and bodies. And we float up and we float up. And eventually we float to the surface of the world. And then there's a couple of thumping sounds and a little axe head comes through the top, and suddenly, like, our eyes sting like shit because we can see the sky for the first time from 5 miles under the earth, buried there by history, personal, political, cultural. We float to the surface of the world. 3 axe blows, 3 podcasts, and our eyes water. Why do our eyes water? Because we see light for the first time. And when we see light for the first time, we'll scratch the shit out of our hands to get out, right? To get out into the air in order to bear your own existence. Because you see cracks in the roof of the coffin. And your son needs you because he's up there, right? You either go up to him or you've got to pull him down to you. But you can't parent from where you are, I think. And you don't want to pull him down to you. That's letting your dad and history and death win, right? You got to get up to where he is, right?
I can't imagine hurting him, and that's what's also bringing me here.
Right, right. It's not his fault you had an asshole for dad. And dead-eyed bitches for moms and stepmoms. It's not his fault. He's pure. He's innocent. He's got no responsibility for history. He didn't do it to you. Because he didn't do it to you, he shouldn't suffer for it, right?
Absolutely.
My daughter never beat me up. My daughter never screamed names at me. My daughter never pounded my head against the door. My daughter never threw knives at me. Why would she suffer one bit for what she never did? Unjust punishment is the root of most dysfunction. I mean, if I punish her, even by not being available, I'm not much better than my mom. And even if one of my big motivations when I was younger was just wanting to feel superior to my mom. Okay, that's hey, whatever gets you there, man. It's like the coach says, whatever gets that goal in the net, or whatever gets that ball in the net. But it's not his fault, and he shouldn't be punished at all, right?
Right.
And freedom from the fists of your father is refusing anything but the best for your son. That's what frees us. I honestly cannot remember the last time I thought of my mother. That's freedom, you understand? I'm not avoiding thoughts of her, but that's freedom. Because I have used every piece of violence she ever gave me to create the cathedral of peace that is my life. You know, it's what Jesus says, you beat your swords into plowshares. I don't know what a plowshare is exactly, but it sounds pretty good. Certainly sounds better than a sword, right? But you take everything that was done unto you and you flip it and you reverse it, and you've got a sure guide as to how to be best for your son. It's perfect. You don't have to learn a new language. You just have to reverse. Your father was distant, you be close. Your father was violent, you be peaceful. Your father abused, you be curious. Your father punished, you ask. He's taught you everything that you need to know to be a fantastic parent. It's just on the flip side of fuck him. And you got to stop punishing yourself. Because you understand alcohol is a form of self-punishment, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got to stop punishing yourself. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. That your dad treated you this way, that your mom treated you this way, that your stepmom treated you this way. It's not your fault. They made their choices, and they are 100% responsible for those choices. And their choices are deep in the rear view. They can't change them. They can't go back and be good parents now. People say, my mom, my dad, it's like, to me, after 18, I don't know. Being a parent to a 20-year-old is nothing at all like being a parent to a 2-year-old or a 2-month-old or a 2-day-old. I mean, they're not even in the same category to me. I mean, of course, you could still use the word, whatever, right? But when people say my mom and my dad when they're 30, and it's like, I know we have to have the same word because it's the same biological relationship, but it's just not the same. So, you will find that being there for your son and being authentic with him is going to be hell. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to, it's going to be wonderful because you're a smart man. And if it was wonderful, you wouldn't be calling, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be hell. Because everything, this is the analogy that just popped into my head. Okay. What I'm saying is, okay, here's what you need to do, man. You need to leave your wallet at home. Leave every form of payment you have at home. You need to go to a Lamborghini dealership, man, and you need to order top of the line. Whatever there's like $200,000 car, $250,000 car. I have no idea, right? You need to go order a top of the line car, and you need to say, I'm going to drive out with this today. And you need to say, I don't even need to test drive. I've done my research. I know exactly what I want. That red thing that looks like a cutting edge space shuttle suppository. That's the one that I want, right? Oh, that's $300,000. No problem. I'm telling you, go sign the paperwork. Sign the paperwork. You say, well, Steph, how the fuck am I going to pay for a $300,000 Lamborghini? And I say, you know what? It's easy. You just reach into your pocket and the money will be there. That's what it sounds like when I say, go be a great parent. It's like, I don't have the currency. I don't have the savings. I don't have the experience. I don't have the mentoring. I don't have the training. And I'm saying, no, just reach into your pocket. The money will be there. I mean, if I was a financial advisor, that would be insane, right?
Yeah.
It's magic, but it is real. It is true. Every instinct that you have to be a great parent is already there. You reach into your pocket, you can pay. You can be the best. Because you know what it's like to be ignored and to be excluded and to be punished, and you know all of that, and you know how painful it is. So just don't do it. And it's not a whole lot more complicated than that. You got to feel how painful it is. Of course, right? Because you got to be authentic, right? But everything that hurt you, like okay, when was the last time you walked in a dark room and stubbed your toe? Like hard.
The other day, actually.
Okay, and before that?
No, I couldn't remember.
It's been a while, right? Why? Because we don't do shit that hurts. We try and avoid that stuff, right? And so when you feel the pain of your childhood, you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I mean, do you not think that I felt a flash of power? And like after I said to my daughter, be careful, and she dropped something on and that dinged the shit out of the hardwood? You don't think I'm like, oh, I got power. Oh, I could really grind her down for this, right? Of course, we're human. We have experiences. We know the language, right? But I know what it's like for a parent to put stupid stuff above my happiness, which is all stuff, pretty much, right? You know what it's like to have a pool table be infinitely more important to your father than your tender, trusting heart, particularly burning because you wanted to play pool with the guy and nobody would help you. You know exactly what it's like to be parented badly. And I felt that flash of my mom in me. She holds out that apple, like from the Garden of Eden. She holds out that apple. She tempts me. Oh, come on. You told her to be careful, and she just dinged the shit out of the hardwood. Come on. Be me. Be me. You know exactly what to do to be me. It's like, yep, and now I know exactly what to do to not be you, bitch. Never put your child below stuff. You know exactly, because you know what it's like to be put below stuff. You know how awful it is. So just, you don't do it. You know your dad's going to be crooking his finger probably for the rest of your life, off and on.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you got to work. You got to get to work. You got to be successful. You got to make money. Oh my God, something physical got damaged. You got to show that kid. Your kid lied to you. Yeah. Guess what? Kids lie. It happens. Adults lie. It happens. You know, kids have never lied a country into starting a war in Iraq. Ever. But only the kids get punished. People who actually lie and start wars that kill 250,000 or 300,000 people. People who lie and get hundreds of thousands of people killed, you know what they get? They get fucking pensions and TV gigs. But kids who lie out of terror because they scratched a little piece of wood, they get punished like hell. I'll get mad at kids lying when fucking war criminals go to jail. But, it's got nothing to do. I mean, it's all about power. It's got nothing to do with morals, right? So you know how to be a perfect parent. You know how to be a great parent. You know it. You just got to feel what it was. And right? You know this, right? Because if you stop drinking, when was the last time you had a drink? I mean, it's pretty easy to get mad at your dad in a just way, which is to imagine that you have a babysitter, and the babysitter seems very nice and very positive and very friendly and all that. And then you come home and your son is weeping because your babysitter hit him and washed his mouth out with soap because he dropped a plate by accident. What would you do? How would you feel?
I would lose it. Extreme rage, pretty quick.
Right. So, and you've heard me ask this question, but why is your son more important than you? Why is he more worthy of protection than you?
I've heard this question.
Why would you
It
get more
hurts.
mad at what happened to your son than what happened to you?
Fucking hurts.
You're as
every
important
time.
as your son. Yeah, you're just as important as your son is, man. Your pain is just as important as your son's pain. If someone hit your son, the anger that you feel and the desire to protect him is exactly what you should feel for yourself. You can't be a good parent and think you're less important than your children. You can't. How the hell are they going to look up to someone who thinks they're less important than they are? You are just as your childhood self is just as important and just as worthy of protection as your son. If listen, you and I both know the murderous feelings that we would have if I found out that my mom had somehow beaten my daughter's head against a door.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many fucking security guards it would take to hold me back, but it would be quite a few.
Yeah, you don't have to explain that to me.
I don't have to explain that to you, right? I don't have to explain that to you. So why on earth would I get so much more angry at my mother beating my daughter than beating me? Why? I'm just as important as she is. Why would I get so much more angry at that? Because if I get angry at that with my daughter, but not with myself, or less angry, I'm saying I don't matter that much. And the moment I start saying I don't matter that much, I have to stop putting on a show. I have to stop putting on a show. I alienate myself from those around me. And my mom wins. Fuck her. I'm not going to let her win. I'm not going to let her keep her from protecting my younger self. I'm not going to let her keep her from being close to the people around me. And I can't be close to the people around me if I think I'm not important. Of course I'm important. I'm essential to them. They're essential to me. I'm essential to the world. You're essential to the world. And you have every right to be even more angry at how your father treated you than some imaginary person hurting your son, because your father actually did that to you for years, and your stepmother and your mother for years. Can you imagine if someone took your daughter for a week and she came back with a giant fucking scar on her face? Sorry, your son. And he came back with a giant scar on his face because there was a terrible injury, but they just couldn't be bothered to take him to a hospital and get him stitched.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that stuff. I apologize.
So, no problem. So you told me that you have a scar on your forehead, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because your mom couldn't be bothered to take you to to a doctor to get a gash stitched up, right?
Right.
Okay. Now imagine your son is staying with someone for a week, and he comes back with a giant permanent scar because he got a terrible gash and they couldn't be bothered to take him down the street to a doctor to get him stitched up.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be
Okay, don't
exceptionally
laugh,
angry.
don't laugh, don't laugh. Don't laugh, but you're as important as your son is. And how I feel with regards to you is how you feel with regards to your son. If you want to kick the drinking, in my humble opinion, if you want to maintain closeness with your son, if you want to be the best father, then you have to be as important to you as your son is to you. Your childhood protection and anger needs to be as important to you as your desire to keep your son safe. The anger you feel towards anyone who would harm your son has to be at least the same as your anger at people who harmed you when you were a child, when you were as helpless as your son is. Because you are as important as your son, and you can't lead him, and you can't be a father if you think that his pain is important, but yours is less important. Your pain matters as much as your son's. The anger that you feel towards your son's imaginary abuse, it can't be less than the anger you feel towards your actual abuse. Otherwise, you don't matter. And then you can't lead him. And you can't be there for him. Because he's more important than you, and you become a kind of courtier or a serf or a slave to him. Just as your father was to his women. Oh, you want me to go beat up my kids? I'll go do that. He was like this dumb Terminator brute enforcer of her pettiness and anger. He was her slave. Because only her upset mattered. His didn't matter at all. And yours sure as hell didn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are as important as your son because you were his age and people mistreated you absolutely horrifyingly. You matter as much as he does. Do you see what I mean?
I wish I could generate that anger that I have for these imaginary people harming my son that I should have for my childhood.
Oh, it's there. It's there. And I think that the drinking is to keep it down partly as well. You deserved every bit of protection that you give to your son. You deserved every bit of consideration that you give to your son. You have to matter. It's not even a choice anymore because you've become a father. You have to matter. You have to matter. You can't put it off anymore. You have to matter. He won't flourish if you don't matter. I guarantee you that. He will not flourish if you don't matter. Because he will grow up knowing that when he grows up, when he becomes an adult, when he becomes a father, he's not going to matter. His feelings, his history, it doesn't matter anymore.
You can't do that to him.
You have to matter. You have to matter. You have to matter. Abused. Got to look at him, and you at that age, he's not going to be freaked out by that. He's got feelings. You've got feelings. That's how you connect, right? So you got to look at him, and you at that age, you were that vulnerable, you were that dependent, and you were treated very, very, very badly. Terribly abused in almost every way. And just remind yourself, you look at him, you say, I deserve as much protection as he does. I deserved as much protection as he does. And if anyone hurt him, I'd be incredibly angry. Or those same people hurt me, I'm incredibly angry because I can't mean less than the person I'm trying to raise. Otherwise, I'll simply raise him to be meaningless. Like, that's no good. You don't want that, right? You want to break that cycle.
Right.
You gotta mean something to yourself in order for your son to grow into a man who means something to himself. Because you can't teach what you don't know. And you certainly can't teach what you don't embody, right?
Yeah.
I would also... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I firmly believe he's a mirror of myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're doing incredible stuff. Like, this is beautiful, heroic stuff. This is the real meat of raising the world, of raising the standards of the world. Now, the other thing is you gotta figure out what's going on with your wife, man. Right? Because